All praises, all praises, all praises, all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Hello, family. We are back together again in our holy convocation with this grand congregation where we will reconvene at the need of wisdom for our continuous dining on the divine manna, meat, bread, and wine of the word of the holy creator of all praises. And this is a petition of blessing, peace, safety, and harmony to the diaspora, those scattered to the four corners of the planet Earth, the children of Jacob, the house of Israel. And we are here. Oh, yes. And we are blessed. And it has been a long week, family. I have been away from you because of YouTube. We were stricken because of some information that we relayed to the nation. And, well, according to their guidelines, it was not so fine. So I had to sit down and ponder and wonder a bit, but it did not stop the flow. Oh, no. So we are back to continue with our history review of the scriptures, the history removed from the holy word. So we are back in the second book of Maccabees, and today's theme, we will be witnessing the power and the protection of the angels of the holy power. All praises, all praises, all praises. So, family, grab your wonderful space in the place. Let us become still. Let us become quiet. Let us have the warmth of the mental marination of the elevation of the words of wonderment. And, oh yes, we shall begin. The book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 1. Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well, because of the godliness of Onias, the high priest, and his hatred of wickedness, it came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts, insomuch as Seleucus of Asia, of his own revenues, bear all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices. Oh yes, family. So yes, we were under the holy protections and peace of the Creator under the high priest Onias. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about the disorder in the city. Verse 5. And when he could not overcome Onias, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Thracias, who was then governor of Seleucia and Phoenice, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable. and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hand. Oh man, family, so we see the development of a conspiracy of one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin and an outside heathen to pillage and plunder the treasures of our temple. Verse 7. Now when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him all the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus, his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money. So forthwith Heliodorus took his journey under the color of visiting cities of Celesyria and Phoenice, but indeed did fulfill the king's purpose. And when he was out and come to Jerusalem, and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children, and that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as that wicked Simon had misinformed, the sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold, and that it was altogether impossible that such wrongs should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place and to the majesty and inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored all over the world. Verse 13. But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury. So at the day which he appointed, he entered in this order to his matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. But the priests, prostrating themselves before the altar in the priest's vestments, called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to he kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. Then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart for his countenance, and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body, that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had in his heart. Others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt. And the women girt with sackcloth under their breasts abounded in the streets, and the virgins that were kept in ran, some to the gates and some to the walls, and others looked out the windows. Verse 20. And all, holding their hands toward heaven, made supplication. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitudes of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. Oh, family. So this wickedness against our temple was so devastating that it changed the faces and the body of the priests. And all of the widows and women ran to the streets, hands held high in prayer of petitions of protection, and then collapsed about the streets. Then they called upon the mighty Almighty Lord, to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now, as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of God and fainted and were sore afraid. And here we go, family. As they were about to transgress upon the temple of our power, a apparition, a vision appeared amongst them to their great horror. Verse 25, for there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many stripes. So these 2 men of the apparition began to whip Heliodorus and his company. And Heliodorus fell suddenly onto the ground and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into a litter. Verse 28, thus him that lately came with a great train and with all his guard into the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, and manifestly they acknowledged the power of God. For he, by the hand of God, was cast down and lay speechless without all hope of life. But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place, for the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. When the Almighty Lord appeared, there was filled with joy and gladness. Then straightways certain of Heliodorus' friends prayed Onias that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the ghost. So Heliodorus was at the verge of death, and his men besought our priest to pray for him. So the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Now as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same cloth appeared and stood beside Heliodorus, saying, give Onias the high priest great thanks, inasmuch as for his sake the Lord has granted you life. And seeing that you have been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of God. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Lord and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onias, returned with his host to the king. Then testified he to all men the works of the great God, which had he himself seen with his eyes. And when the king Heliodorus, who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, if you have any enemy or traitor, send him there, and you shall receive him well scourged, for he escaped with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of God. For he that dwelleth in heaven has his eyes on that place and defends it, and he beats and destroys them that come to hurt it. Verse 40. And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell on this sort: all praises, all praises, all praises. Family. So we see that when we are ruling in our righteousness, the heavenly hedge of protection guards the people, the temple, and the land from the wicked treacheries of the heathens' continual conspiracies. So this is a filling in and a continuing mantra. Let us honor the one true God, to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, to ascend, become, and maintain righteous rulership of this realm. All praises. And family, we shall reconvene and reconverge at the meat of wisdom for the continuing edification and education of the holy hidden nation. We will continue to persevere and endure, and we will return with the wonderful exploits of our history, which was a mystery before we became into the truth, the way, and the light. So family, we shall return in love and safety and harmony. This was the reading of the book of the second Maccabees, chapter 3, the protected treasure, the temple, the land, and the people. And until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.